Winter 1940. The Maginot and the Siegfried lines. The armies spar fitfully. This is the phony war. The Western Front stands still. In England, unspeakable weather. For 23,000 Canadians, there is the immediate problem of keeping warm. The 1st Division has just arrived, and there is the pomp and circumstance of a royal inspection. They prepare for a place on the Franco-German frontier and face the miseries of adjustment. Equipment is short, time is long. In monastic barracks, used since the Crimean War, they skirmish with homesickness and dream of central heating. At home, Mackenize King's Liberal government weighs the mixed war mood of the Dominion. This mood ranges from complacency to apprehension and generates sharp political conflict. King is beset from two sides. In Quebec, Maurice Duplessis' National Union Party seeks re-election on a platform of strong provincial autonomy and limited involvement in Europe. King and his lieutenant, Ernest Lapointe, feel a Duplessis victory could cripple the war effort. Lapointe, supported by C.G. Chubby Power and the eloquent Arthur Cordin, go out to beat him. They stake their careers on victory. When the votes are in, Duplessis has been defeated, and a friendly Liberal majority has been installed in the Quebec legislature. Now, King faces trouble from another quarter. In the Ontario House, maverick Liberal Premier Mitchell Hepburn, supported by the Conservatives under George Drew, has condemned King for failing to pursue a more vigorous war policy. A week later, in Ottawa, the federal parliament convenes. The opposition contemplates a long session with a chance to make political hay before a summer election. But Mackenize King has other plans for the members of parliament. Promptly at 3 on January 25th, Lord Tweedsmuir, Governor General, opens the session. 4 hours later, all 245 members are on their way home. King has called a snap election. The opposition rises in dismay and angrily follows the Prime Minister to the hustings. Dr. Robert Mannion calls his Conservatives a national government party and stumps for a coalition and a heartier war effort. King promises there will be no overseas conscription and argues that only the Liberals have the support of all provinces and the experience to run a war. On March 26th, the votes are cast. The Conservatives are crushed. Mannion's political career is ended. The Liberals have the biggest majority since Confederation. King has his mandate to steer the middle course through the war. In England, the 1st Division is better fed, better equipped, and a lot warmer. For the first time, Canadians mount guard at Buckingham Palace.
Present!
It was spring, and the war seemed far away. On April 9th, the phony war was ended. Neutral Norway was to be placed under the benevolent protection of the German Reich. That same day, neutral Denmark was afforded the same generous protection. Dumbfounded, Denmark stood and watched. Norway fought and was pounded into submission. In Britain, a shocked people called for a new leader. A sick and tired Neville Chamberlain stepped down. Winston Churchill's offer of blood, sweat, and tears was accepted. As he went that day to see the king, the Nazi legions struck again. Holland, Belgium, Luxembourg. This was Blitzkrieg, a new tactic of furious mobility. It stunned the democracies and destroyed their armies. In 14 days, the Low Countries fell. The mighty Maginot Line had become an empty promise. The conquerors swept around that barrier and plunged into France. In the wake of the mounting terror, the people fled. But no road led to freedom, and those choked with refugees served but to slow the Allied armies. For the French, humiliation. For the British, a miracle. For 5 incredible days, the angry English Channel lay dead calm. The Navy and every kind of British craft afloat rescued their army from Dunkirk. "338,000 soldiers made it to England. Few had their arms of war. Some had no need of them again." General Andy McNaughton had been to France and was pessimistic, but one of his Canadian brigades was sent to help. It was to be a short trip. They would land at Brest in the midst of chaos. After 12 futile hours, they were ordered back to England. These Canadians would be saved for the last island defense. France was being chopped to death. Italy applied the coup de grace. Benito Mussolini declared war on his dying neighbor. Old Pétain and the traitor Laval were allowed to govern a corner of France from Vichy. In 45 days, Hitler has swept from the Rhine to the railway car in Compiègne.